It's been a fairly hectic couple of weeks in the queer art scene here in Melbourne. The Queer Film Festival has just wrapped up, and I hope you got a chance to see some of the fantastic films, not without controversy, of course. Every year the festival has a little controversy. This year it was the lesbian porn film Sugar High Glitter City, which some women walked out of, and angry emails were received by the festival office because there was a bit of dildo action in the film. Ooh, that naughty masculinity invading lesbian space. But otherwise the festival seemed to go really, really well. There's also some great exhibitions on at the moment, and if you get the chance, get along to 200 Gertrude Street and check out the Sharpies exhibition on as part of Melbourne Fashion Week. Images of Sharpies from the 70s and early 80s. Some very unintentionally homoerotic stuff in there as well. Anyway, tonight's show, we have an interview with Lindy Cameron, lesbian crime author, recorded a few weeks ago, and also we're chatting with Tony Ayers, queer filmmaker, about his new film Walking on Water. We filmed that a little while ago as well. So you'll notice that my goatee comes and goes during the show. Clean chin now, but very shortly there will be fuzz. That's because it was filmed a couple of weeks ago. And coming up in just a moment, we'll have a look at the Big Day Out. I went along to the Big Day Out at the end of January, looking for gays and lesbians into rock music and the alternative scene. Let's see if we could actually find it. I'm here at the Big Day Out. We're going to try and find some gay and lesbian punters, see if there actually are any, or whether it's all just very, very heterosexual. We're looking for queers. Are you queer? We're looking for queers. Are you queer? We're looking for queers. Are you queer? We're looking for gays and lesbians in the crowd. Are you one, or have you seen any?
No, but I know. I don't know if she's here, but no.
Have you seen any same-sex affection amongst boys or girls today?
None at all. You're both lovely and charming, but as far as I know, you're also fairly heterosexual, yes?
At present, at the moment.
We're looking for queers. Are you queer?
Well,
how long have you been together?
About 2 years now, you know.
Yeah. We're quite open about it as well.
Good to know. Now, seriously, which bands are you here to see?
Pardon?
Which bands are you here to see?
We just saw Kosher and they went off, so I was going to say Prodigy,
probably, I don't know, maybe New Order. New Order, yeah.
So it's gone well.
Jurassic 5.
Oh, yes, Jurassic 5. And hip-hop. We do like a hip-hop whenever we go at it, don't we?
Yes, we
love it. We love it.
Is this how straight people always spend their time, getting drunk and listening to rock music?
Not myself. I like to masturbate about, my mother. But she's not here right now, so I can't do that.
There you go, proof that straight people really are perverse. What about you?
I'm alright, yes.
Yes, gay?
Yes.
Fabulous, thank you. Okay, would you describe the Big Day Out as a queer-friendly event or a queer-safe event?
Queer-friendly.
Is it a good place to pick up?
Oh, I don't know, I've only just got here.
Monday at the showgrounds. Lots of people, they all seem to be heterosexual. I've only found one queer person so far. A couple of queer-friendly straights, but we will persevere. Failing that, we'll just have to conclude that the Big Day Out really is straight, and that all those hookers and dykes are at home listening to the new Kylie Minogue or K.D. Lang album. Tony Ayers is a writer, editor and filmmaker. His work includes the short story anthologies Hard and String of Pearls, the short films Exposed and Mrs. Craddock's Complaint, and he's recently finished work on his debut feature film, Walking on Water. Now, the film deals with the assisted death of a gay man with AIDS and the impact of his death on his immediate circle of friends. First of all, given the nature of the film, Tony, that it deals with death, grief, gay relationships, was it difficult to obtain financial backing for the film? Was it difficult to get it made?
We were trying to finance the film for a couple of years, and I think the film came about mainly through the support of Bridget Eichen, the executive producer, who, when we first took it to her, she was the head of SBS Independent, and she was very supportive of both the team of people involved in it and the script. And then she became involved in the Adelaide Festival, and the Adelaide Festival put money into it, and SBS put money into it. So it's kind of exists through a fairly small window of opportunity for these kinds of films to be made.
Okay, now, given some of the funding came from the Adelaide Festival, did the departure of the festival director, Peter Sellers, impact on the film or on you in any particular way?
No, not really. I mean, the film was finished before Peter left. Peter was a tremendous supporter of the film, and I was sorry to see his departure, but it hasn't really affected us.
Now, Walking on Water is one of several films that has been made for the Adelaide Festival. Can you tell us a little bit more about the general idea of incorporating films into the festival and specifically commissioning films?
I think Robin Archer wanted to do it in the last festival and didn't have the money, and I think Peter and Bridget kind of concocted a scheme whereby they got support from the South Australian Film Commission, which allowed the Adelaide Festival to sort of participate in the financing of films. There are 4 films that were commissioned specifically for the festival, and it's the first for an Australian arts festival to be able to do that. And generally speaking, even film festivals don't actually commission work; they show work that's been made. So it's quite an exceptional thing. I mean, basically, what it does is allow filmmakers who are kind of concerned with making films that aren't necessarily commercial films an opportunity to sort of practice their craft.
Are you worried that by having the Australian premiere of the film at the Adelaide Festival, that it's going to pigeonhole it as an exclusive elitist art film?
No, not particularly. I think it's going to be pigeonholed anyway. I think we're pretty aware of that it's going to be a tough film to try to get a broader audience to. Of course, you want as many people to see your work as possible, but at the same time, it's the kind of work that not everyone's going to go for. So, and we knew that at the beginning of the process.
Yep. Now, it's a film with gay characters. Is it a gay film?
Yeah. I mean, I think that for me, one of the most interesting things about the script is that and in terms of being a gay identified filmmaker, is that the world that the film is set in is very much a gay world, but there's questions of sexuality aren't actually relevant to what happens in the film. The story is about how people deal with the loss of their best friends and their best friend, and the kinds of things that people do when they feel, in the experience of grief. And I think that that's kind of not people relate to that no matter what their sexuality is.
Yeah. Now, the themes of the film, grief, friendship, death, they're quite heavy themes, and they're not necessarily themes that are traditionally seen in Australian films, certainly recent Australian films, which tend to be lighter. Are you worried that the film will have a trouble finding any kind of audience?
Well, so far the response to the film has been very strong. I think there's been there's a degree of truth and integrity in the film, which makes it kind of come across as a powerful experience. I think that will, people will respond to that. I hope that they do. There are funny moments, a couple of funny moments, a little bit of sex, that helps, and a threesome, that helps. And but by and large, I think that you hope that the film will find its audience. I mean, the success of films like Lantana this singular success of the film Lantana has made people think, well, there is an audience for serious films, there is an audience for adult films, and we're, that our film is in that category.
Okay. Tony, thanks very much for joining us on the program tonight.
Richard.
And Walking on Water premieres, as we said, in Australia at the Adelaide Festival in March.
Yep.
Gets general release for the general public,
Hopefully somewhere between May and August. Not sure yet, but it's still being decided.
And Tony Ayers' new film Walking on Water opens nationally later this year. And joining us now from Sisters in Crime is Lindy Cameron. Thanks for coming onto the show.
Hi.
Now, first of all, why the obsession with crime fiction?
It's a good question. It's a very good question. I don't quite know what it is. I think it's most of the people who like crime fiction work in the sorts of professions where they have to deal with a lot of trouble. A lot of, they're caring professions. They're school teachers, they're police even, those sorts of things. So an obsession with crime fiction is an ideal thing to finish off the day with, because there's a lot of chaos in a crime novel, but everything is always resolved in the end, which does not happen in real life.
So how did the She Killed Her convention go? It was the last week of October, so a little while ago now.
Yeah. It was mind-blowing, actually. We decided to have it to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Sisters in Crime, which was this year, and we thought a convention would be the best way to do it, and we gathered together every crime writer we could get, female crime writer that we could get in the country, which amounted to 22 of them. The ones who didn't turn up couldn't because they were overseas, and it couldn't have been better if we'd planned it, which of course we did. We had about 300 people come along to it. We had sessions going all weekend. It was a lot of hard work, but nothing went wrong.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And you've also just recently had the Scarlet Stiletto Awards.
Yes.
Now, tell us a little bit about the awards and then give us the goss.
Okay, well, the Scarlet Stiletto Awards we've been running for 8 years now. We started as a way, because the idea of Sisters in Crime is not just for us to enjoy crime fiction, but to help promote new women writers and encourage more women in the country to take up writing, but specifically crime fiction. So we started a short story competition, and as I said, it's been going for 8 years now, and the winner of this year's one was Josephine Pennicott, who is from Sydney. She won this year. She came second last year, so she's working up towards a pair of shoes, because the main prize is a Scarlet Stiletto shoe with a dagger for the heel. And so far, out of the 8 years, 3 people so far have won a pair of shoes.
Okay, doing pretty well.
Yes.
Now, just to wrap up, lesbian crime fiction seems to be an enormously popular genre, both amongst straight readers and amongst lesbians. What is the key there? What is the secret of lesbian crime fiction that makes it so popular and so successful?
Well, it used to be a subgenre, and I don't actually think it is anymore. I mean, I've got 2 novels published by a mainstream publisher. HarperCollins published my books, and I think it's a bit more the outsider status. Even straight women and a lot of guys read lesbian crime fiction. I don't know what it is. It's slightly different from normal women's crime fiction in that the main protagonist is a lesbian, obviously, which quite often means there's more sex in the books as well, which is why a lot of people like it. But also, they have more people around them, more better support structure than the lone PI walking the streets alone like the straight PIs have.
Okay.
I think that's probably the attraction. It's a bit more like real life, even if your real life happens not to be gay. So.
Okay.
I'm Ralph McLean, this is the opening, and I'm talking to somebody who used to be somebody. Well, I'm actually talking to Australia's most famous unknown actor. Simon Hughes, welcome.
Hi, Ralph.
Simon, you are an author.
That's
You're an
right.
author, you're an actor and a reviewer. And your latest book, actually, it's your first book, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Your latest book is Didn't You Used to Be Someone?
Mm-hmm.
True Confessions of Australia's Most Famous Unknown Actor. I've got a confession, ladies and gentlemen, and the confession is Simon and I have known each other for a little while. In fact, it's about 25 years, isn't it, Simon?
It will be close to 25 years, Ralph, since we're at Melbourne University together.
In the 70s, that's true. And I saw a young Simon Hughes do, was it The Last Days of Sebastian Melmoth?
The play was called The Real Life of Sebastian Melmoth, and it was,
He's got a memory that's fading here, folks, I'm sorry.
and it was a play about Oscar Wilde. It was.
And you were good.
Oh, thank you.
You were good. It was the back room, the back theatre of the Pram Factory. And those of us who are old enough do remember the Pram Factory.
Yes, it's now a lovely supermarket, Ralph.
A lovely supermarket. You can get just about anything you like except
Theatre.
theatre in the Pram Factory Safeway. That was early in your acting career.
Yes, in fact, that was the first professional production that I did. And it was directed by David Kendall, who is the father of the lovely Kate Kendall from Stingers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, didn't you know that?
I
Well,
didn't know that. The things you find out on telly.
Indeed, yes.
Why would you want to be an actor? What a shit awful job.
Well, it used to be a lot of fun. In fact, it still is fun. If you can get work, it's just fantastic to do. And really, I wouldn't want to do anything else apart from writing, which I also love doing.
Now, come on. What about the story in your book about the guy who's the understudy in Midsummer Night's Dream, for the Bell Shakespeare Company. I've stopped calling it the Sydney Shakespeare Company.
No, there was another production of The Dream. It was the one directed by Glenn Elston in the Botanical Gardens.
Okay.
Yes.
Wasn't a Bell production. This poor guy lost how much in terms of weight when he was told he was suddenly up there?
I tell the story as an example of stage fright, and in fact it's probably the worst example of stage fright that I can
You're a cruel bastard, aren't you?
Excuse me for
you are a
giggling,
cruel
yes.
bastard. You're laughing at this man's
No, I'm not. I'm just. I'm sure David, who was the understudy, would appreciate the humour of it.
Well, what happened?
Well, he wasn't quite prepared, and so the guy playing Puck, who was very athletic, he was ex-Circus Oz, he damaged his foot, I think, and so he couldn't go on. And David, who was totally unathletic and didn't know the lines, went on in his stead. So in front of about 600 paying patrons, he had probably the worst experience of his life, which entailed losing, I think it was something very surprising like a stone during performance, just in, fluid.
And pissing his pants.
I'm afraid he did.
Yeah,
yes,
well,
he did.
you know,
yes,
I would too if I had read 600 people.
Through sheer fright, yes.
And it's a lot of lines to learn suddenly.
It is. It really was like leading a blind person around the stage, sort of just pushing him to where he should go.
Now, there's a in this book of yours, there's a bit of teaching going on. There's lots of glossaries at the back, and descriptions of the different sorts of actors and directors.
Yes, well, I think if you're going to enter the acting profession, you should know the types that you're going to come up against.
Like the old actor.
The older actor, the TV actor, the stand-up comic, they're all types, and if you can recognise them, then you're best able to deal with them.
Now, you're a bit of several of them now. You're happily middle-aged, but you don't quite qualify as the old or actor.
No, I'm looking forward to the decrepit parts.
Yes, and you've been fringe. You've certainly been a fringe actor.
Yes, well, that's where I got the title of Australia's most famous unknown actor, which a friend.
What's the smallest audience you've ever played to?
One.
How
at
fantastic.
La Mama. Yes.
Were they appreciative?
He was, yes. Yes, although it was a very strange experience for 6 actors to get up there and perform for one person.
Oh, no, doesn't that break a rule? Isn't there a rule?
That's an equity rule.
Yeah.
But people don't follow it normally. I mean, because actors are quite dedicated to their to what they do, and so they'd much prefer to go on and do it. Although I think one is possibly drawing.
I think so too.
The line.
This was at La Mama, you say?
An afternoon.
So he won the raffle as well.
He did. He got
That's
the book.
fantastic. What sort of trajectory did you feel like you were on when you finally got onto Neighbours as an actor?
Well, that was a big surprise to get the job on Neighbours.
What was the part that you played? I'm sorry, I should know.
Well, of course you should. I only got the part because I'd done Comedy Company the previous year, which was the last season of it, and I found myself back at it, Nunawading, Channel 10 there, doing Neighbours, playing the deputy principal of Erinsborough High School, and I duly became, for I think all of 2 weeks, the principal of Erinsborough High School.
It's a very important role.
It is.
You're not flooded with offers from people and pantos in Britain.
Sadly, no.
Your stretch wasn't long enough.
No, it
Pardon
wasn't.
expression.
Yes, no, no, I'd love to do panto in England. It's sort of, very
It would
good.
be. Now, talking about, which we weren't, the Bendigo Bank was not bad for you.
Oh, the Bendigo Bank was lovely for me. I did that for 5 years. And,
Now, that being the face of the Bendigo Bank, essentially.
Yes, me and David Berish were the faces of the Bendigo
Now,
Bank.
you always played the guy that knew what he was talking about and said Bendigo Bank at the end of the ad, and he was always the guy that was the dumb bunny.
The dope, yes.
Yeah. So, did he get paid more than you?
Look, I don't know, but all I can say is that the Bendigo Bank, treated us very well, and I'd love to work for them again.
And they dumped you, though. They dumped you for community banking and rural and regional revival.
Well, it went on 4 years longer than we expected it to, so that's all right.
It's not a bad gig.
Yes.
Would you go back to working for the Bell Shakespeare Company?
I'd love to work with John Bell again, and in fact I didn't actually get to work with John Bell on this production because it was directed by Elke Neidhart, who is an opera director, and John wasn't in it either.
Yeah, opera director, if one reads through the lines, it means rather clumsy director. A director that's used to shifting around meat on the stage.
Oh, I think certainly that's the case, and I don't think any opera director would object to that description. In fact, I think Elke herself said...
most choruses are a bit like that, aren't they?
Yeah, she said she was used to pushing fat people around the stage.
What's wrong with that? I guess most singers are fat.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I guess they are.
I mean, it's one of those mysteries. If you end up being skinny, you can act, but if you end up being fat, you can't. But you might be able to sing. I think that's probably fair. So we've talked about acting. Well, what's the best experience of acting you've ever had?
One of the best experiences I had, and I remember it vividly, was the opening night of Glenn Elston's production of A Midsummer Night's Dream in the Botanical Gardens. Was the first time that there'd been a night performance of any kind, apart from, I think, a chamber orchestra 20 years previously, in the gardens, and you really did feel that the gardens were alive with those elves and hobgoblins and fairies of which the play is about, and the audience loved it. It was one of the best experiences. It was one of those, Did you cry? No, but I come across as a little bit jaundiced in my book, but that was just an unrepeatable and magical experience.
It's one of the things that I always loved in terms of my last career was going to the Age in the morning and opening up and seeing your review, your television review. How did you get into being a television reviewer?
Quite by accident. The previous TV columnist, who was a good friend of mine, and I think yours,
actually, yes,
was sacked, and
so you climbed over poor Philippa's dead body.
I did. I mean, not that I wanted to, and I.
You were just forced. It was one of those things that happens. Well, it was an opportunity.
Philippa said, if someone's going to take the job, then it might as well be you.
Yeah, she's always been a gallant woman. You were a terrific reviewer. And I'm sure you've got lots of lovely things to say about the Age now they've let you go. But I want to know what you think about the new makeover. Because content, I'm not worried about content in the Age.
I love the new makeover because it now looks a whole lot less like the Oodnadatta Times, which it did with a big blue blob in the middle of the page. In fact, it looked like USA Today is what it looked like.
Yes.
Like, something just above a supermarket tabloid. And I think the content possibly seem to reflect, the format. Well, now the format looks the way it is, which is a
we might get a bit more content.
Well, it's a no-nonsense.
We might get more arts content with a bit of luck.
Oh, well, there's a huge amount of arts in the culture section. So I think what they've done, I think this has come from Greg Highwood, who was instrumental in the makeover of the Sydney Morning Herald. I think it's a really good move.
Now, in terms of content and television and reviewing, what was the worst thing that you were ever asked to review?
Oh, now.
It is actually a very broad range of things you can choose from.
There's so much bad TV, but the thing is,
I rather like your dad's comment about American crap.
Yeah.
He didn't like American television.
No, and I thank Dad for that because American crap, was something he said we should be wary of, and he was dead right. Even though we wanted to watch as much American crap as we could.
And you did, didn't you?
Well, we when he wasn't there and Mum wasn't there, of course we did. And but I think it's good because he set up a standard, and you could either react against that or you could go along with it.
What's the next career?
I want to get back into acting for 6 years.
You want to get back onto Neighbours, don't you?
No. Not at all.
No, well, what about if your agent rings you up tomorrow and says, "Pet, love,"
Sweetie, darling.
"Sweetie, darling," you know, there's
who was a good friend of mine, and I think yours.
Actually, yes.
Was sacked, and
So you climbed over poor Philippa's dead body.
I did. I mean, not that I wanted to, and I.
You were just forced. You know, it was one of those things that happens.
Well,
it was an opportunity.
Philippa said if someone's going to take the job, then it might as well be you.
Yeah, she's always been a gallant woman. You were a terrific reviewer, and I'm sure you've got lots of lovely things to say about the age now they've let you go. But I want to know what you think about the new makeover. I mean, because content, I'm not worried about content in the age.
I love the new makeover because it now looks a whole lot less like the Ood and Adatta Times, which it did with a big blue blob in the middle of the page. In fact, it looked like USA Today is what it looked like.
Yes.
Like, you know, something just above a supermarket tabloid. And I think the content possibly seem to reflect, you know, the format. Well, now the format looks the way it is, which is a
we might get a bit more content.
Well, it's a no-nonsense.
We might get more
paper.
arts content with a bit of luck.
Oh, well, there's a huge amount of arts in the culture section. So I think what they've done, I mean, I think this has come from Greg Highwood, who was instrumental in the makeover of the Sydney Morning Herald. I think it's a really good move.
Now, in terms of content and television and reviewing, what was the worst thing that you were ever asked to review?
Oh, now.
It is actually a very broad range of things you could choose from.
There's so much bad TV, but the thing is, you know...
I rather like your dad's comment about American crap.
Yeah.
He didn't like American television,
No, and I thank Dad for that, because American crap, you know, was something he said we should be wary of, and he was dead right, even though we wanted to watch as much American crap as we could.
And you did, didn't you?
Well, we you know, when he wasn't there and Mum wasn't there, of course we did. And but I think it's good because he set up a standard, and you could either react against that or you could go along with it.
What's the next career?
I want to get back into acting for 6 years.
You want to get back onto Neighbours, don't you?
No. Not at all.
No, well, what about if your agent rings you up tomorrow and says, "Pet, love,"
Sweetie, darling.
"Sweetie, darling," you know, there's they want to revive the principal character.
Oh, look, Ralph, that's not going to happen. So I'm fairly safe in saying that I really don't want to go back onto Neighbours. I would be deeply flattered, but I want to do something of substance, and for me, that's stage work. So I want to get back into that if I can. And if I haven't offended too many people over the years, and I also want to continue my writing. So I'm going to continue to juggle those two careers.
Okay, you haven't offended us tonight, Simon. Thank you very much for coming, and we'll welcome you back.
That's pretty much it for tonight's show. Now, we've got some giveaways for lucky viewer supporters of Bent TV. We've got 2 tickets to La Mama for any show, and a 2-ticket giveaway to the Storeroom for any show leading up to the Comedy Festival. You have to be a viewer supporter. That costs either $20 or $15 concession. And if you call 9417 3318 now and register as a viewer supporter, you can be in the running for those giveaways. You can write to Bent TV, PO Box 1414 Collingwood 3066. Online, go to http://switch.2/BentTV, or email us benttv@switch.2. That's it for the opening this fortnight. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time, and at this time next week you can catch Bent TV's fortnightly sports program, The Dressing Room. I'm Richard Watts. Bye.